excited to welcome Mr. Abhinav Dasgupta, Director, Merchant Sales and Acquiring at Visa. Abhinav, welcome to Sales Stories, and just cannot wait to listen to all the amazing experiences you have to share today.
Thank you, Sneha. Privilege for me to be here today and look forward to our interaction.
All right. So, Abhinav, my first question to you is: was sales or always a prospective career choice that you had in mind since the time you were graduating, or even in your post graduation?
Oh, no, absolutely never. I was terrified of sales. I mean, let me kind of put it very, very clearly, saying it just as it is. I was absolutely terrified of sales. I never thought I could do that kind of thing. Uh, the kind of sort of image one gets of salespeople is basically your door-to-door folks kind of um, running around the city and being turned out at every doorstep they walk into. No, clearly not the thing for me. So yeah, I was absolutely terrified, and hence, when I joined Axis Bank as my first job, uh, like the only thing I could do here is product. I was a marketing major, and of course, sales and marketing were very different, at least as far as I understood back then. So product seemed to be the easy way out, so I took that up. But eventually, I realized that whatever you could do product, you could do consulting, you could do whatever you like. Finally, you got to do a you got to sell essentially, right? So whatever you do, irrespective of FMCG or banking or telecom or whatever else you do, you finally have to sell. So had to at some stage plunge into it, and somehow escaped unscathed.
That's really amazing. So, during your journey as a sales professional, did you encounter a lot of challenges, and did you have anything where you had to actually push yourself beyond limits and try to explore the other different side of the boundary? So, what were those experiences like?
I think I would probably speak of a couple of experiences during my consulting days. So, if you followed my career trajectory, I was at Axis Bank in the cards team, and then after that, I got into consulting with EY and PwC, and thereafter joined Visa. Uh, Now, consulting, by the way, for those of you listening in, is also all sales, right? Clients don't come to you asking for a solution. You go to clients selling them solutions, right? That's how consulting works. No one really comes to consultants. So, one of the things I actually tried to do, and this was when we were starting off the business at PwC. So I was part of this sort of set of five people who kind of left EY to join PwC to set up the payments consulting practice from scratch. I had only 5 years of experience, probably less than that. Yeah, I think just around five. And at 5 years of experience, you're largely only doing delivery. You aren't really doing sales. But when you're setting up a business, obviously there's no delivery to be done. You need to get projects first. So everyone kind of plunged headlong into it, and those were some very, very exciting times because uh, that was really pushing myself, because a consulting decision is largely made by pretty senior folks, right? It's not, hiring a consultant is not a mid management decision. It typically goes all the way up to the CEO, the MD. In the case of fintechs, it goes to investors and stuff like that. So I had a great time making sales pitches, presentations to senior management, sort of made me step into bigger shoes than I was meant to be. So, um, a lot of experiences like that really worked out. And I think where we took the practice in the 3 years that I was there was actually pretty cool because, like I said, it's the kind of experience bracket I had. It wasn't really expected of me to lead sales pitches really, but I managed to do that and actually managed to get a few projects in. So that worked out well. Yeah.
Okay, that's really nice. So, there is a belief in a lot of youngsters, and they say if I'm an introvert, I'll never be able to sell. So, what do you have to say about that?
Um, Honestly, I don't think um, anyone is an introvert per se, right? Those are brackets that we kind of put people into. No one is really an introvert or an extrovert. I mean, uh, we all kind of adapt ourselves to different situations. And quite honestly, in a number of cases, whenever you are, I mean, yeah, you don't need to be the most garrulous person in the room, absolutely. But even if you're a little, let's say, reserved, I wouldn't use introvert, but let's say reserved, you have the opportunity to get through to clients by dint of your expertise, right? And that's always a good thing. Some people are natural salesmen, absolutely, you're right, based on just the way they interact with clients and things like that. But a lot of other people, though they may be reserved by nature, are really respected by clients because of the value they bring to the table, right? And therefore, that whole nature thing you spoke about isn't necessarily all to it, right? I mean, there's always nurture where nature is, right? So it's something that can be developed. And I've seen that quite a bit, with people really bringing good quality to the table, and clients kind of respecting them. So yeah, I really don't think it should make too much of difference.
Okay. So, going forward, you do hire a lot of people in your team, right? So, what are the key skills you look for if you're hiring someone specifically for the role of sales?
uh, we don't hire too much, firstly. But when we do, yeah. So in fact, before, it's a good follow-up question actually to your previous one. So when we interview, we would probably not look at how much of a natural born salesperson you are, right? We'll probably look at expertise. We'll look at how well you're able to collaborate even within the team, right? Because sales, to a very large extent, while part of it is client facing, a good part of it is also to build your personal brand internally, right? And so if internally you're able to collaborate well with people, you'll probably get the best of the organization in front of the client, right? Because I mean, finally, you are the face of Visa to the client, but then you're also the face of the client to Visa, right? So you kind of uh, build that pretty nice bridge between the client and the organization. And while you would probably be untested with clients before you join us, you would probably get a good mix of the people you would work with during various interviews. So there's we often look at how well a person's able to collaborate internally, what kind of personality fit and things like that, a bit of cultural fit and everything else.
Mm.
So those are some of the things that often define a good salesman. Obviously, you know, expertise is a given, industry knowledge is a given, uh, points of view are also very important, because the kind of role we are in is not really sales of a product or a service. A good bit of what Visa does is consultative selling, right? I mean, it's not just selling a card to a bank.
Mhm.
It's also talking to the bank or to a merchant about what are the key trends in the payments industry, and therefore what they need to do. So it's a lot of consultative selling. Therefore, we often look at what viewpoints, what outlook the person has in terms of the industry, where it is headed, what are the emerging trends, and so on, right?
Mhm.
So those would be some of the things we would look at.
All right. So, again, another perspective people have towards sales is it's a very stressful role. Every day you need to achieve some targets. There'll be humongous of them, people all over your head, and you hardly get time to breathe. So, youngsters usually feel that a lot, that sales is a very stressful job. So, what do you have to say about that? Is it easy to cope up with it, or because it's a very rewarding profession, along with the rewards come a little bit of hard work?
So you're right, it is very stressful. Absolutely no contention there. But then what job isn't?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not to say that sales is more stressful than product is, or more stressful than marketing, or more stressful than anything, you name it. I mean, every job has its own stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing with sales, though, is that a good bit of your time, or let's say your personal time, your freedom, whatever, a good bit of that goes into client interactions, right? Which may not be the case if, let's say, you're in an internal role, and everyone's off at 6 p.m. and off for the weekend and stuff like that. That is not necessarily the case in sales, because a lot of what you're doing depends on the client and their whims and all of that. But yeah, that's part and parcel of it, and you finally kind of get used to it to the extent that you actually enjoy it too once in a while. And you mentioned one really nice thing about how while there is stress, there are other benefits to it as well, and that's absolutely right. Because what sales does is help you build a network within the industry, and I just cannot overemphasize how important that is, right? For everything, be it getting more leads, getting introduced to more clients, or even like if you need a new job, like you need a job change, figure out your clients and they can introduce you to other people, right? So building a network within the industry the way sales helps you do, I can't think of any other role that would, right? So those are some of the huge benefits that sales brings to you.
Okay, that's really nicely said. I mean, of course, sales expands our network like nothing else does. I've been in a roles of marketing, and I think that was just sitting at a desk and trying to achieve your numbers. But sales is more
Yeah,
people interaction, so that pushes you to the edge. In fact. So now coming to one message that you would want to share with the world and share with people who still think accounts, human resources, operations is still better than sales. So what do you have to, say to them to motivate them to become a sales professional?
I think and it's a good question because I would probably have thought the same thing, when I started out my career, and today I would probably not have it any other way. I like doing sales, and I would probably do it for a little while longer too. What I would say is that get rid of preconceived notions. To be honest, right? That's the first thing. There are lots of benefits to sales that you probably wouldn't get in some of the roles you mentioned. And the second thing is, don't get sort of inhibited by uh, fears that are completely unfounded. I mean, if I'm to quote Ralph Waldo Emerson, he spoke about the evil that never arrived. Right? It's a little bit of that. This whole fear of sales is the evil that never arrived. It doesn't really exist. It's not evil that's going to come. It's all in our mind, right? So I think we just need to give it a go. Just try it out. Uh, you may be successful, you may not, but give it a try. It's really not such a bad thing. And I have like many stories of people who really dealt against the odds, and emerged stronger. Like I've really had the easier sort of path ahead doing institutional sales, but I've known people who've done FMCG telecom sales in difficult terrains, parts of the country that probably they would not have been to, having come from a tier one institute and things like that.
Mhm.
But they've done it against the odds and have really emerged triumphant. So lots of stories there. Like I said, I've really had an easy path doing institutional sales, but those people push the boundaries and they managed to get there. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's really nice. So, just one last question for my understanding. I think you head the Asia Pacific as well. You look after the Asia
No, no, I
Pacific.
don't.
No.
I really don't. You're kind of giving me too much importance. I don't. I So what I do is India and South Asia. I don't head it either. I'm just part of a team, but I probably lead the largest accounts that Visa has in these markets on the merchant and acquiring side.
Mhm.
But yeah, India and South Asia basically includes, in addition to India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Maldives, Sri Lanka, right? Of which Maldives and Sri Lanka is done by a colleague of mine in Colombo, and I manage Bangladesh, Nepal, and Bhutan.
Hmm, that's impressive. I mean, you've had such an amazing career, and the journey has been worth, looking at and getting inspired by. So, thank you so much for giving us your time for this interview. And I'm sure with your words, people can get you. You have been very, in fact, very point on and bang on by describing everything that you were asked for today. And I think that gives a very clear perspective to people to embark on this journey of sales. So, thank you so much, Abhinav.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Neha, for having me. And look, if anyone has any other questions in terms of sales, or even for that matter, on the electronic payments industry, which, by the way, is a very, very exciting sort of space to be in. Happy to be of help whenever you want me to. So yeah, look forward to interacting with you, your students, and all the people who benefit from the great work you do.
Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.